Okay, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started here. Just want to go over a few announcements before we do. The webinar is going to be about an hour long, and then we're going to open it up the past few minutes for Q&A. Q&A usually lasts anywhere from about 15 to 20 minutes, depending on how many questions you guys have. So we're going to be doing a slideshow presentation. It's like 40 pages. I'm going to be going over some demonstrations of how to use the services. We're going to be talking about marketing do's and don'ts, what to say, what not to say, how often to send your mail, the spacing in between, and stuff like that. So a few things I do want to go over. We're going to be giving away some free gifts for anybody who attends the webinar tonight. And the gifts are going to be letters and some postcards. So you're going to be getting a lot of marketing gifts, some letters and some postcards that you guys can send out that people are yielding 3, 5, 10, and 15% response rates from. So anybody who stays on the webinar during the presentation the whole entire time, you are going to be receiving some marketing gifts for just attending the call, the webinar. Also, we're going to be giving away a free county tonight as well. So anybody who wants to purchase leads by Friday will have a free county for any lead source that we offer. So again, we're going to be doing a slideshow presentation for everybody that's joining. I'm going to be repeating my instructions just a couple times. We're going to be doing Q&A the whole time, but we're not going to be answering the questions until the end. So during the presentation, you have a little Q&A on your toolbar, your Zoom toolbar. You should see Q&A. Just click on that. Click on that now, actually, and just say yes if you can hear me. Let's do a little test to make sure my audio is good. Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Don't raise your hand during the webinar. I do not answer raised hands. So if you want to communicate with me, just click on Q&A and chat with me there. Thank you. I got a lot of yeses, so I know you guys can hear me. Thanks a lot. So now we know where our Q&A is. It's a little toolbar. There's Q&A. Send in your questions during the whole presentation. It's not going to interrupt me because I'm not even going to be looking at them until after the whole presentation is over. So again, anybody that stays on the call is going to be receiving some marketing gifts. We're going to be giving away some letters, some postcards, and a free county for any lead source that we have to offer if you want to purchase by Friday. We're going to be going over some marketing tonight. We're going to go ahead and get started. So again, click on Q&A if you have any questions, and I'm going to stop my video here, and I'll be opening it up around 7 o'clock for Q&A. So please send in your questions during the whole time. So just stand by for a brief moment. I'm going to stop my video and share my screen. Okay, so this is the Foreclosures Daily presentation. We appreciate you taking your time out to be on this webinar tonight. We're going to be teaching you a lot in a very short amount of time. So don't worry, anybody that's on this call. If you have any questions, you can email me afterwards. We can talk on the phone, via text, office, whatever. I'll make sure you guys have my contact information. So some things I might go over quickly, and we will be sharing the information later on as well. Again, so if you miss anything, you can capture that after. I'm Tangie Cousins. I have been with Foreclosures Daily since 2004, so 16 years now. And since then, I've helped many investors, realtors, and attorneys grow their business and increase their revenues. I teach people how to use different types of leads that we have to offer. I also teach the do's and don'ts of marketing. Because I've been doing it for so long, I've learned a lot from the beginning investor all the way to the 50-year seasoned investor. So I have a lot of knowledge when it comes to marketing and stuff like that. And I'll be sharing a lot of that with you guys tonight. Who we are, we're a nationwide lead provider. We provide leads to investors, realtors, attorneys, and just your basic first-time home buyer. We've been in business since 2004, and I have been with them since they opened. And since then, we've been the internet's #1 destination for the most detailed, timely, and accurate information out there. How we are different? All of our leads are either daily, weekly, or monthly, but most of the time our leads are going to be weekly. All of our leads have real estate attached. We do not give you leads that do not have real estate attached. Property appraisers data is going to be on most data types. Most companies we have found are quarterly, and they're not farming for real estate. We understand the importance of having fresh data that's farmed for real estate. For example, a lot of companies out there, let's say 300 people may file probate or divorce in 1 week. Maybe only 15 of those people will have property. We're going to make sure we give you the only 15. 7 to 10% of the people that pass or file divorce don't even have real estate today. Most people liquidate their properties before they even pass. So definitely important that you understand that having leads that are farmed for physical real estate is extremely important. Some of the types of leads that we offer here at Foreclosures Daily are probates, pre-probates, inheritance, divorce, absentee owners, tax slates. auctions, list pendants, cash buyers, code violations, evictions, distress. We can even customize your leads for you. In fact, I had a guy call me the other day and he wanted leads for his automobile business. So, I mean, we did that for people who have owned vehicles for a certain amount of time and so on and so forth. So we can even customize your leads too, depending on what type of business you have. We can also make, let's say you want a homeowner who's 60 years of age or older, who owned their property for 15 years or more, and who has 80% equity or higher. We can do that too. So just ask if you don't see your list down here. I only listed a few. People's fears are what's talked about most when we talk about using our list. A lot of people have a lot of fears about using certain things that they don't understand. The biggest thing we hear is, you know, I'm not really sure about probates. I'm not really sure about divorce. You know, I've never really done them before. You know, I don't know how to do it. I've never done it before. I don't know the process. You know, and what we teach people, you know, it's okay that you don't know. It's okay that you've never done it before. And it's okay that you don't know the process. When you work leads, you don't need to know their job. A lot of people think, well, let me go out and get trained on how to, you know, how to go through probate and how to go through divorce and all that stuff. And then I'll come back and I'll work the leads. And actually, guys, you don't want to do that. That's absolutely one of the worst things that you can do. If you taught yourself how to go through probates, the only thing you're teaching yourself at the end of the day is how to do their job, not yours. If I'm out washing my car and I'm your neighbor, you're not going to go out and take a $5,000 probate class to come talk to me just because you know I have a property that's in probate. You're going to feel comfortable talking to me, right? Because I'm your neighbor. So you're just going to come outside and say, hey, Tangie, you know, I know you guys got an extra property. Are you thinking about selling it? Well, let me ask you a question. If you were to take a $5,000 training course and to teach you how to go through that probate process, is your conversation going to be any different to me when you come outside? Absolutely not. You are still at the mercy of the homeowner. So when are you going back to court? Do you know when the judge is going to sign off and release your property? So your questions are still going to be the same because your knowledge about going through the probate process is not going to help you with that homeowner because you don't know when they're going back to court, when the judge is going to release them property, where are they at in their probate process. All of that is going to do you no good whatsoever. So I teach people, take your money, save it. Instead of spending it on a speaker to learn the other people's jobs, you need to spend it on your job. You need to learn your own job, which are things like marketing, answering the phone, running comps, visiting the property, estimating rehab and repair costs, especially if you're going to be wholesaling. If you don't know how to estimate the rehab cost of the property that you're trying to flip it to, you know, you're going to make a really big mistake and damage the relationship that you have at, let's say, a RIA club. You know, if you go trying to wholesale a property and you overestimating rehab, or if you're underestimating the rehab cost and you wholesale it to somebody and they find out it's sitting on a sinkhole or it needs a new roof and you didn't estimate that when you gave them the information on the ARV value, you know, it's gonna cause you a lot of grief. So make sure you know your job. So estimating rehab costs is very, very important. Know how to put an offer in, know how to write a contract. These are things that you need to be learning to do, not learning how to go through a probate process, learning how to go through a divorce, learning how to go through foreclosure, because at the end of the day, none of that's going to do you any good. It's just a homeowner who has a property that they may want to sell. So nobody has a problem talking to their neighbor about the extra house that they have. But people seem to have a problem when you're mailing somebody 10, 15 miles away and a person that you don't know. But guess what? It's still a human being. They still have a property. Regardless of the situation, it's an extra property that they may not want. So your approach needs to be the same, regardless. So as long as you know your job, you can purchase any lead in the whole world. Now let's talk about the individual leads that we have and what they mean and what they are. A probate is the legal process wherein the estate of a decedent is administered. When a person dies, his or her estate must go through probate, which is a process overseen by a probate court. Now, not everybody has to go through probate. If they've inherited the property via a trust, obviously they don't have to go through probate, guys. But most people don't do that. Most people don't put their properties in trust. Either they don't have the money and they don't have a family attorney and they just don't know how to do it, or whatever the reason may be, most properties are not going to trust. Most people have to put their house through probate. Probates by far are one of the best leads nationwide you'll ever get. They have a lot of equity. They typically don't mind taking a discount and they're very, very motivated to sell their property. Now, when people lose their parents, they're typically 50 and 60 years old. They're usually not children. They're usually around 50 and 60, and they'll almost always have their own home at that age because they're usually established in their own life. So they typically will want to more than likely sell this property, and they'll usually want to split it up with their siblings. Now, because they didn't buy the property, they've got no skin in the game, which means they're more than likely going to want to sell it at a deeply discounted rate just to get rid of it very quickly. Now, all probate timelines are different. Each one of them will vary. You know, I've had people that tell me, oh gosh, this house took a year to go through probates, and there was, 9 beneficiaries fighting over the property. And that very well may be at times that could happen. But the average probate does not take that long. It's in a benefit to get in and out of the courts as they quickly can get it. And it typically takes about 2 to 4 months. Now, we did just recently have a probate attorney, and she was based out of Florida. So what I'm about to say pertains to Florida, but a lot of the states kind of are similar in most ways. So do check the laws of your own state. But what she told us is that you actually don't have to wait until the probate is completely 100% done. She said once the judge signs off on the property, they can pretty much do everything they need to do to sell that property. She said something like the homeowner just can't take the money and do anything with it until after the probate's completely finished. But I guess she said once they're named the personal representative of the estate, which usually takes about a week, she said depending on whether they have full authority or partial authority, they typically will bring your offer to the judge pretty much right away and say, hey, I've got an investor, and they want to buy my property for $80,000. And she said the most that they usually ask is, what is it, the market value of the property, It's like, oh, 120,000, then why are you selling it for 80? Oh, because it needs a new roof, it needs a new sink, your kitchen, it needs new floors, whatever. She said he just signs right off. They don't care. They just want to know that you're getting, at least a decent amount for the property. Then that just depends on if you have full authority or partial authority, but it's not as long as everybody thinks. You hear all these horror stories and one bad apple ruins it for the whole tree. Now let's talk about the next best thing, or even equally as good as probates, is pre-probate. A pre-probate is a person who has died, a death certificate has been filed, and we have verified that there's real estate attached. Now, the benefit of working a list like this is huge, you guys, okay? Not only will you be first at the door, but if they've inherited the property via a trust, you may be able to buy that property right now because they're not gonna have to go through probate. So that's the benefit of working a pre-probate. Sometimes these people may be able to sell their property right away. We also have absentee owners. An absentee owner is a non-owner occupied, or it could be in-state, could be out of state. When you're dealing with, let's say, well, we're in Florida. So when you're dealing with out of state, you're dealing with a lot of snowbirds or landlords, because a lot of people in Florida will live here part of the year, and they'll live up north the other part of the year. So the benefit of using an out of state absentee owner, the preface is that they're not maintaining their property, 365 days a year. They're not here during hurricane season. Also they're traveling back and forth. They're usually an elderly couple that are snowbirds. So one parent or the other will eventually get sick, and not be able to travel back and forth anymore. And most people want to go back up north and pass with their family. So a lot of times the property will end up being here, not being maintained. So the benefit of using an out-of-state absentee owner is you can reach those types of people. Now, a lot of people, when they get absentee owners, they want to get only out of state. What I teach people is it's beneficial to use out of state and in-state, and here's why. When you deal with in-state absentee owners, you're typically dealing with investors like yourselves, as well as landlords, right? And landlords are good because of the eviction leads, right? Because if you have like an eviction lead, the benefit of using an eviction lead, a lot of times we figure it's a landlord that will want to sell their property because they're tired of doing the evictions, and they may want to liquidate what they have. We also have investors who own a portfolio of properties, people who own 3 or more properties or 4 or more properties. We have that list too. We also have cash buyers. So I mean, there's huge benefits to working different types of lists, but absentee owners are good for in-state and out-of-state because you're dealing with a lot of snowbirds, landlords, and investors like yourselves. So absentee owners are really good, guys. And you can customize them too. Like, hey, I want absentee owners who live out-of-state or in-state, who've owned their property for at least 10 years and there's 60% equity. So I mean, you can even be that specific, and you can do those by zip codes. Things like probate, pre-probate, inheritance, code violation, eviction, divorce. Those are all more like subscriptions to where you don't pay per lead, you pay for subscriptions, and you have to sign up for a specific period of time. We'll go over that later on. Inherited lead. What is the difference between an inherited, a probate, and a pre-probate? Well, I'll tell you. We talked earlier about inheritance, people not really inheriting their property via a trust much. A lot of people will not inherit their property via a trust. Most people have to go through probates, right? Like we said earlier. So an inherited is truly a person who inherits a property via a trust, and they do not have to put their property in probate. Now, there's not a lot of people that will inherit their property via a trust. So we also like to include completed probates. If you are in a county where we can get probate, we will include in the inherited list completed probates, people who are done with their probates, because we feel that that's typically, we feel that that's also an inherited property. We will also include family deed transfers, a property that was transferred from one family member to the other in the amount of $0. So the inherited list is actually made up of 3 different types of leads. Is it beneficial to work a pre-probate, a probate, and an inheritance? Absolutely. It's called striking the iron while it's hot. Now, if you reach them 1 week after the death, they're either going to be on an inherited list or they're either going to be on the probate list, one or the other, right? There's no in between. So one might say, why don't I just purchase the pre-probates? Well, because you're missing it when they file probate. You're missing it when they inherit their property. When they file probate, that's important time, because once they file the probate, the benefit of using a probate is if they do have to go through probate, and most people do, at least they've already filed and they may be closer to making a decision. But the benefit of using a pre-probate is if they do have to go through probate, is if you're first at the door and if they inherit the property via a trust, you could buy it now. But it's beneficial to work them during all 3 stages, because you want to reach them 1 week after they pass, you want to reach them 1 week after they file probate, and you also want to reach them when they inherit the property. So it's very beneficial to work all 3 of these lists for those reasons. It doesn't matter if there's some duplication at some point in time or another. If you have a pre-probate, the average person waits about 1 to 3 months before they actually file probate, is what we have found to be true. With that being said, you're reaching them during different times. One person may wait 9 months. One person may wait a year. And you're done marketing to them if you're only buying the pre-probates. How are you going to know when they file probate? You're not. So you're just blindly marketing, hoping that you hit them during that iron being hot. You know, so it's beneficial to work all 3 if you can. Some people don't have the marketing budget to work all 3. Now, divorce. Divorce leads are really good, guys. It's 1 week after they file for a divorce. The divorce is a legal dissolution of a marriage by a court or other competent body. When the divorce is filed, we will verify that there is real estate owned and provide you with the information 1 week later, okay? Let me tell you a little story. Divorce leads are really good, guys, but any list that you do, you have to think about their situation and what you would want in your marketing. I had a guy, and he literally just buys every lead we have when it comes to anything new that we get. He always is the first one to call us up when we do an email blast to say, hey, I heard you guys have this, right? I heard you guys have this now, I want to try this. And he literally just buys everything we have, honestly, on a consistent basis. And he's been our client for the whole time we've been in business. Well, he checked out our divorce leads, and well, first of all, he bought our foreclosure leads first, and they're daily here in Florida. They're monthly in all the other states. And then he bought our probate leads and our pre-probate leads, and he still uses all of them today, by the way. Everybody's dying to get on the probate list. You guys know that. No pun intended. Anyway, it's just a little side joke. Sorry that. Anyways, he works the divorce leads, you know, and I called him up a couple months later. I'm like, hey, Joey, you know, how's the divorce going? He's like, yeah, you know, they're going great. We're doing a really good job. You know, I've got some good responses. I've got some contracts going on. And I even got some nasty text message, and one guy show up on my property, threatened to beat my butt. I'm like, well, what's going on? You know, and I'm like, you know, I talked to him about his marketing and what he's doing. He says, well, I said, well, who are you addressing the envelopes to? He's like, well, the ladies. I'm like, oh my God, were you looking for a date, or did you want to buy a house? And I guess he kind of got both. But and I said, you know, God, why would you put the lady's name on the envelope? And he's like, well, I figured they were going to get everything. I'm like, no, guys, you got to think about this, right? Because when you're talking about a divorce lead, most of the time, the husband and wife are still living in the house. You got to remember, this is 1 week after they filed for divorce. They can file for divorce on a Thursday, guys. We might have that list on Tuesday. So you're getting this like fresh off the cut, you know, so you got to be careful when you're marketing. he should be marketing to those people and using both the husband and the wife's name, or at least maybe addressing it Mr. and Mrs. Smith, because you want to include both parties. You don't want to upset one party and not the other guys, because you got to remember they're both going to have to sign off on that house, not just the wife or not just the husband. We've since made a lot of money off of Plenty of Fish and Match.com on this list. I'm just teasing you guys. That's not true at all. So the divorce leads are really good too, guys. And I also want to talk about list pendants. List pendants, a lot of people are confused when they call me up and they want a pre-foreclosure, right? Some people call me up and they want a pre-foreclosure and they really mean pre-NOD. A notice of default is a list pendants. It's when a homeowner stops making payments on a mortgage. The mortgage has a specific procedure that it follows to take the property back. This procedure does differ and will vary according to state and county in which the property is located in. For example, if you're in a non-judicial state, you may only have 2 weeks in the foreclosure process of the pre-foreclosure once it starts. You know, like Texas or states like that is non-judicial. But here in Florida, God, they can sit in list pendant status for a year before anything happens. You know how they are here. Now, if a lender finds that a homeowner is in default on their mortgage, it's typically more than 3 months behind. The two parties are unable to resolve their issue of the outstanding debt. Then the plaintiff, which is typically the bank, has the right to file a lawsuit known as the list pendants against the homeowner. So that's a list pendants. That's a true pre-foreclosure. So a lot of people, when they call me up and they ask for pre-foreclosures, sometimes they want 30s, 60s, and 90s. It's basically when a homeowner is just now late on their house payment. It's not public data. But when you call me up and you ask for a pre-foreclosure, this is exactly what it is. It's when the homeowner stops making payments and they're behind 90 days or more and the list pendants is filed against you. That is a notice of default. Those leads are still good in today's market, guys, and people are making a lot of money off these. They're doing subject twos, they're taking over the deed, you know, and keeping the mortgage in the homeowner's name. They're buying them outright from the homeowner before they go to auction. So list pendants are still good in today's market. Just not as good as probate, pre-probate, inheritance, code violation, eviction, and divorce. We also have tax slates. Tax slates are really good too. How the leads can help you if you are an investor, obviously it can help you get properties for wholesale prices. Now, if you're a realtor, it can definitely help you as a realtor. It can help you gain listings for your personal investing, as well as the investors who work with you. If you're an attorney, this can help you gain business for your law firm and your personal investing. If you're a mortgage broker, it can help you get refinances and loan modifications, and it can also help you in your personal investing as well. If you're a first-time home buyer, we've helped a lot of first-time home buyers acquire properties in just a few months of using our service. And then they turn around and become investors after they realize how easy it is. Now, let's talk about marketing, right? Because this is the guts of everything. If you don't do this right, you're not gonna make it happen for you. Marketing is really important with these types of leads, you guys. A lot of people that call me up, you know, oh, I'm just gonna cold call, or I'm just gonna SMS or ringless voicemail, or I'm just gonna do this. People have gotten just so, I don't wanna say lazy, but I do wanna say lazy. People have just gotten so lazy these days, you know? People just wanna try to pick one marketing channel and just do one thing. And sometimes, you know, it might not be laziness. Sometimes what I found is a lot of people try to pick one marketing channel because they just don't have the money to do multiple marketing campaigns. So here's what I've done. First of all, I want to talk about that. When an investor calls me up and say, hey, you know, I'm just going to do cold calling. Let me tell you why that's not a good idea. Number one, that's like buying a pair of brand new shoes and only wanting to walk on the tippy toes because you don't want to use your whole shoe to drive forward. That's a bad idea. When you market, consistency and patience is key. You want to be really consistent. You want to, when you buy a list, you do not want to limit your capabilities of reaching your seller and reducing the chances of you being able to make a deal. If I told you that by cold calling, you only have a 10% chance of reaching your seller, but if you do marketing, you're going to increase your chance by 30%. And if you add SMS, you're going to increase your chances by 40%. If you add ringless voicemail, you're going to increase your chances by 50% or 60%. And guys, I'm just using these numbers as an example. They're not true, tested, and tried. I'm just trying to tell you that the more things that you do, the more chances you have of reaching your seller. It's the same thing in consistent marketing. The first mail you send, you may only have an 11% chance response rate. And the next mail you send, all of a sudden you've got a 17% chance of people responding. By the time you get to the fourth mailing campaign, it raises to a 30%. By the time you get to the fifth one, it raises to 60%. And by the time you send the sixth mailer, you have an 80% chance of reaching your seller. Now, I don't have these numbers in front of me, but it's somewhere around there. So consistency is extremely important when you're doing your mailing. In fact, I need to add that to one of my next slides, is the national average response rates. And by the way, the national average response rate to any marketing is 1.5%. I've got people getting 3, 5, 10, and 15% with my marketing techniques. All right, so check this out. Mailing for a period of 6 months. Let's say that you're an investor, you're just getting started, you don't have a lot of money, and you scraped all your change together just to buy a list. Now you have $200 left to market. What are you gonna do? You bought a list, you paid $600 for it, now you've got $200. And you've got to find a way to make that $200 spread into mailing, cold calling, SMS, ringless voicemail. You can't do it all. You can't. It's impossible. You don't have enough money. So what you have to do is you have to pick the 2 best ones. And the 2 best ones are marketing via mail and cold calling. Those are the 2 best ones out there right now. And right behind that is SMS. Everybody texts these days, you guys. Everybody's texting. So get into the world of SMS. Find a good system. Stick with it, but the first things that you should be doing is cold calling and marketing are the first top 2. So let's say that you only have enough money to do a 3-step mailing campaign. Obviously, it's best to do a 6-month one. But if you can only do a 3-step, you have to try to stretch it out for as long as you can. Take a picture of this slide because this is important. And don't wait till October to mail. I had several people ask me, do I wait till October to do the mailing because your slides show October? Guys, I just used that because it was October when I did this slideshow, okay? We could use February if you want, February, March, April, May, June, July, it doesn't matter. These are just examples. But if you can only afford to do a 3-step mailing campaign, mail October, November, because you want to go back to back, right? And you skip December and mail January. That way you've turned a 3-step mailing campaign into 4 months now. The same thing with 4 months, turn it into a 5-month by skipping months in between. But you see how I'm trying to keep the closest together as I can? So when you go to a 4-step, you're gonna mail October, November, December, back to back, and then you're gonna skip January and mail February, and you've now turned it into a 5-month mailing campaign. The same thing with a 5-month, you gotta turn that into a 6-month campaign. And you're doing that by mailing October, November, December, January, you're skipping February, and you're mailing in March, that means you're stretching it out over 6 months because you want to try to mail to them for as long as you possibly can, but you want to also try to keep consistency. And a lot of people say, hey, well, if I mail them at the end of October, when do I mail them again? Well, if you mail them October 15th, you want to mail them November 15th, December 16th, January 15th, but you got to be careful because you want to pick a good mailing day around that time. So if you mail them October 15th and you like mailing on Wednesdays, because let's say it takes 3 days for them to get the mail in your area or 2 days, you have to figure out how many days it takes them to get the mail. And when do you want them to get the mail? Do you want them to get the mail on a Monday when they're too busy to look at any other mail? No, you don't. Do you want them to get the mail on a Friday when they're getting ready to head for their weekend? No, absolutely not. Mondays they're going to be busy returning to work. Fridays they're going to be busy thinking about their weekend. Actually, one of the best times for them to get their mail is Saturday. They're sitting at home, they're having their morning coffee, they started their weekend, they've already relaxed for the evening from coming home Friday night from work. So if you can mail on a Thursday and they can get that mail on a Saturday, that's the really good time to do that mailing, guys, or even in the middle of the week. If you want to mail towards the end of the week and try to get their mail to them by Wednesday, that's the middle of the week. They're not gonna be as busy as they are on Monday and Friday. So you just have to pick your mailing day and try to stick with that. So if you mail October 15th and your mailing day is Wednesday and November 15th is on a Monday, then just wait till the 17th to mail that person. So you want to pick your mailing day. So that's kind of how you want to work that. But the best mailing campaign ever is a 6 to a 7-step mailing campaign, and it's every single month for 6 months straight. That's the best you can get for the mailing campaigns. Now, consistency and patience is key. Early bird gets the worm, and listen, I want to talk about that. A lot of people say, hey, if I work pre-probate, should I hold my list for a couple months before I mail to them? Well, if that's the case, then just work probates if you're that scared, because you don't want to hold your list. Listen, it's all in your marketing And it's all on what you say in your marketing. Let me give you an example. You don't want to mail a probate person and talk about the fact that somebody just died on a pre-probate. That's one of the worst things you can do. So as long as your mail is politically correct, you should have no fears at all about mailing somebody 1 week after they die or 1 week after they file a divorce. There should be no reason why you're going to hold your mail for any reason, period. Some people like to say it's too early. Well, it's too early if you're talking about the death. Yes, you're absolutely right. But you're not talking about the death. You should only be sticking to the actual property. And we're going to go over what to put in your letter in just a few moments here. Now, the early bird gets the worm is true. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. I want to talk about that for a second. I use this in everything in my life, with my family, my household, my work, my kids, my personal life. The squeaky wheel truly does get the grease in everything you do, guys. I'm going to give you a little personal story really quick about the squeaky wheel. There's one quote. If there's one quote I could teach my children, and I always told them, it'd be the squeaky wheel gets the grease, because that stands true in everything you do in life. It stands true in your personal life. It stands true in your business. It stands true with your kids, their school, everything. Anything that has to do with you, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Let me give you an example. You're at an automobile shop. You're all getting your tires taken care of. You're fed up. You've been waiting for hours. The more you go up and complain, the more attention you're going to get. The more they're going to try to get you out of there. So again, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. My kid in school, I was the one that emailed the guidance counselors, called the guidance counselor, emailed the teachers, was all over. My kids got so much attention in school. My kid graduated, and one of the things the guidance counselor said to me is, Tangie, if it wasn't for you, he never would have graduated. She's like, you were just on it so much, and we always just took extra special time with him and made him push through. And we just, anything you do in life, guys, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And it's so true in your investing business. You want to be that squeaky wheel. You want to be the driving for dollars. You want to be banging on those doors. You want to be leaving notes on the doors and the windows and the steps and everywhere. You want to be in their mail. You want to be in their face. You want to be on their phone. Listen, when you market, you should be using all avenues. You should be cold calling. You should be mailing. You should be doing ringless voicemail. You should be sending text message. You should be skip tracing the probates, pre-probates, decedent name and address, and also getting their surrounding family members' phone numbers as well. You should be calling them, texting them, emailing them, Facebooking them, mailing them, ringless voicemail. You should be doing all of that. You want to be in their face like those commercials on TV. I'm sure like a lot of you know exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about Morgan & Morgan. Like everybody knows about Morgan & Morgan. We the people, for the people. It's an attorney firm. They're all over. They're in your face. They're in the TV. They're in your mailbox. They're on the billboards. Well, guess what? I may be sick of hearing about it, but if I get into an accident or I need a lawyer, I'm calling Morgan & Morgan. Why? Because they did their job. Marketing is everything. This marketing is going to be your whole entire business. You've got to be that person that is just all over their stuff. If they're hollering at you, you're doing your job. You want to be first, but it's just as important to be last as it is first, you guys. Because as I said, your chances of reaching that homeowner in the 6-step mailing campaign increases up to 80% on your 6th and 7th campaign. 80%, guys. You know why? Because nobody else did it after 1 and 2 times. So you're still there hanging in the 5th month, the 6th month, the 7th month. You're going to be that 60 to 80% on those people that are going to contact you because you hung in there and you stuck with it. Okay? Most people try, oh, I'm going to do it. I got this. Yeah, I'm going to do exactly what you said. No, they don't. They try something for a few weeks. And do you just have a 1-month subscription? That's what I hear all the time. Do you just have a 1-month subscription? So let me get this straight. You want to use a 1-month subscription. That's 4 weeks of data. So that on your 3rd week, I'm going to call you and say, hey, are you ready to renew your account? And you know what you're going to tell me? No, I didn't get any hits. So you're going to be making an assumption off your whole entire investing business, off utilizing leads for 3 weeks. That's insane. You don't want to do that. Trust me, it's a bad idea. You want to be consistent. The huge nationwide speakers out there, I'm not going to name a bunch of names, but we have a lot of nationwide speakers that we work with that get our leads, you guys, and they teach just this, a 6-step mailing campaign, SMS, ringless voicemail, email. Everything that I'm saying is coming from them, okay? Because I've learned everything that I know from the nationwide speakers through the 50-year seasoned investors. And I put this nice presentation together for you so that I can teach it to you. I do this for free. I don't charge anything for it. And the reason why we do this is we want you to be successful at utilizing our leads. Kind of selfish when you think about it, guys. We don't want you to use our leads and fail, okay? Because we want to put our best foot forward with you and give you all the tools necessary to be successful, which is what we're about to do. So pay close attention to these next few slides. Now, what type of leads do you market to for 6 months? Do you market to all the leads for 6 months? Absolutely not. These are the types of leads that you want to market to for 6 months straight. Let me tell you why. Let me give you an example. If I give you, let's say I own an extra property, all right? And let's say that I own 2 homes and you buy a list from me. Hey, Tangie, I want homeowners who've owned their home for 10 years, who own more than 1 property, and blah, 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 blah. And then you send me 6 mailing pieces. I am not going to be happy in any way, shape, or form. In fact, I'm going to be very upset because I'm not in any distress. I just happen to own 2 properties. And the last thing I'm going to want is for you guys blowing my mail up 6 times in a row. So you don't want to mail to all the lists 6 times. You've got to look at the list you bought, look and see if they're going through a process. Ask yourself a question. Okay, I bought probates, pre-probates, inheritance, divorce, list pendants, code violations. All of these people are going through a process. And when they're going through a process, you want to follow them through their process, right? So then you got to look at average timelines. Okay, what's the timeline on a divorce? Typically a year. They're usually in and out within 6 months to a year, right? An average divorce is about a year. Sometimes it's 6 months. Sometimes they can do them really quick, guys, if it's not contested. So anywhere from 6 months to a year is the average divorce. How long is the probate? 2 to 4 months on an average, but could be 6 months to a year. But typically just 2 to 4, and it's even quicker than that you get to buy it. Pre-probate. A little bit longer of a timeline because they haven't even filed yet, right? But it could be a quick timeline because if they inherit it via trust, you could buy it now. A list pendants. Well, they can be late 90 days on their mortgage, but once a list pendants is filed and recorded, they could sit in a list pendant status for 6 months to a year before anything happens. But they typically will have an auction date within 6 months, you guys. So everything's about 6. So you want to mail to these people about 6 months because they're going through a process. So that's what you want to look at when you buy a list is, are they in distress? Are they in any kind of process that they have to go through? And that's how long you want to mail to them, guys. So unique marketing techniques. I'm going to go over some basic and some kind of obvious ones, and then we're going to talk about some not so obvious ones. Using unique marketing techniques that will help ensure that your mail gets opened. This doesn't really pertain too much to probates and pre-probates and stuff like that because you don't really have too much of a hard time with getting those people to open your mail because they're not a lead that's competitive yet. They're not that competitive as the foreclosure industry. The foreclosure industry, the national average response rate is 1.5%. But I've got people getting 3, 5, 10, and 15 with things like probate, pre-probate, code violations, divorce, stuff like that. You're gonna get a higher percentage response rate on those, right? So using unique marketing techniques on things like foreclosures is really going to help ensure that your mail gets opened. And even with probates, the more competitive it gets, the more you're going to want to try to be unique, right? Things like different size and different shaped envelopes, such as wedding invitations, birthday cards, etc. Colored letters, such as yellow letters. Guys, yellow letters is just awesome. I mean, we talked about yellow letters 15, 20 years ago. And today, they stand true, tested, and tried to work really, really well. So yellow letters have been proven, tested, and tried to work really well still in today's market. Has not changed. Handwritten envelopes. You know what, you guys? I have a guy that uses the elderly to handwrite his envelopes. He pays this lady that he met. She's an older lady, and she has shaky hands. So when she writes his marketing out, she's got that shaky handwriting. So he has her addressing his envelopes, and it's giving her extra money on the side, and he pays her like once a week or once a month to handwrite all his envelopes because her handwriting is shaky and it just gets people's eye and they just want to open it and see what it is. I have another gentleman, so smart, pays elementary school kids to draw stick people with crayons on the back of his envelopes, pays them a little bit of an allowance, his elementary family members to stick people with crayons all over his envelopes. So, you know, he really goes above and beyond to make sure people open his mail, right? I have another person that does a lumpy mail. He takes those little worry dolls. I'm trying to explain where you would get them. You would get them from, like, I don't know if it's a Chinese restaurant or you get them from a little restaurant, the little teeny worry dolls. And you know what? He orders them from Amazon and he gets boxes, guys, and they don't charge much because the shipping is nothing because they're so lightweight, and he sticks them in the envelope and they don't charge him any extra for mail. It's kind of called lumpy mail. Some people use the squishy balls, but he's using worry dolls and people just really like it. Worry dolls is a big thing here in Florida. So just look it up, okay? So when people get it, it's it really is supposed to, I think it's supposed to mean like luck or something like that, but just look it up. But worry dolls actually have a pretty cool meaning. So there's a lot of different things you can do like that. I have people that use FedEx envelopes, the little envelopes with a little thing in the window to where you can see inside a little bit. Special markings in certain statements on envelopes are really good. Like, I recommend writing the word cash involved on your envelope. If you write the word cash involved on the back of the envelope, it's gonna get opened. Nobody's gonna not open that envelope. Just write cash involved. If you're not comfortable with that, you can use like the $ symbol and put involved in the envelope. All right, I'm gonna speed it up a little bit because we're running out of time, but check it out. Can you read this letter? Just Q&A me, yes and no. I mean, at a first glimpse, what does this look like to you? I mean, to me, it's not very legible. Give me some answers here. What do you guys think of this letter? I'm going to give you guys just a few moments to do that. All right, scrambled, messy, hard to read. They use cursive and they use a terrible font. Absolutely. Okay, that's enough, guys. All right, listen, I want to talk about this one. Jordan. Jordan says it looks Chinese. I like it. Okay. Horrible, too computerized. Okay, I agree. The font is absolutely terrible. Somebody just said, yikes. Sky says, yikes. So anyways, okay, I think we can all agree that's a bad letter, right? So this guy messaged one of our representatives one day and said to please ask Tangie if she can critique my marketing. Well, what we did is we just threw it all away. We just 86'd it all. So here's the thing. I'm going to read this to you guys because it's important what he says. Dear Miss Story. Now listen to me. This is a 4-step mailing campaign, guys. This is very important that you listen to me. 4-step mailing campaign. This is his first reach out. Dear Miss Story, selling your house has never been easier. As discussed, well, hold on. Remind me when we discussed this, because as far as I'm concerned, this is John's first letter. Okay, so there's one mistake there. He says, as discussed, I can pay cash for your house and you pocket all the money. No realty commissions. Make for a sweet sale. Okay, so that's his first letter. Now, his second letter, sorry. Dear Miss Story, I'm still interested in buying your house. As you know, I can pay cash, close quickly, and you don't have to pay a real estate commission when you sell your house to me. So I didn't pick too much out with that one. I just kind of went, let's go to the third one. The third one says, Dear Miss Story, quickly selling your house can take away the strain of showing it to a lot of people you don't know. Well, hold on. Did you meet her? Because your first letter said as discussed, and now your third marketing says that you can eliminate the strain of showing your property to a lot of people you don't know. Well, hold on, she don't know you either, bud. You know what I mean? So there's just a lot going on with this, and these are some big no-nos. Number one, don't make your font so they can't read it. Using cursive font is fine, guys. I mean, although I prefer a typed letter, but using cursive font is fine, but you gotta use a font that they can actually read. That doesn't look all jumbled like Jordan says Chinese. Okay, so, and this is his fourth one. I mean, I'm not going to keep reading them, but let's just move on and we can just cross that off as bad marketing. Don't do this, okay? There's your don'ts of marketing. Do not do that. Now, here's the letter that I helped write. And I say I helped because another person gave it to me, but I critiqued it and did a few different things to it. Now, the reason I'm contacting you is I understand there may be a property for sale. If there is real estate for sale, I would like to buy your property. I can close fast, cash, as is in less than 30 days. Hey, you can even leave the unwanted items in your house. You don't even have to clean, update, rehab, repair the property. I'll buy the property just the way that it is. If this sounds like something you're interested in, please contact me back immediately. Guys, when you market, you need to picture yourself in their situation, going to that mailbox and opening that letter. What would you want to read? If you just lost a mom or a dad, and a week later somebody's mailing you, what would you want it to say? Would you want it to say, my deepest condolences. My wife, Clarice, and I are working on our residual income for our retirement portfolio, and we're interested in purchasing your property to add to that. That's absolutely terrible. You would not believe the people who start their marketing out with my deepest condolences of your recent loss. Do not do that. Don't talk about somebody's negative situation in your marketing. All it does is anger them and bring up an emotion in the human that's opening the mail. You don't want to do that. The only emotion you want to bring up is positive things. You can even leave the unwanted items in your house. Hey, you don't have to clean. You don't have to pick up. You don't have to rehab. Tell them the things that they don't need to do. You know why? Because they don't know. When people lose their parents, they're not typically an investor like you. They're not a speaker or a teacher, or they don't sell leads like me. I mean, you can't do that. You have to put yourself in a situation to where they're just ignorant to it. They have no idea what's ahead of them. In their mind, they're thinking, oh my God, I've got to have 6 yard sales. I have to have the thrift store come up and pick up all this furniture. I need to change out the paneling, and the wallpaper still has the old horse and buggy wallpaper on there, and the bathroom tiles are pink and white in the shower, and it's got the old pink tub, and they're just thinking all these things, right? In their head, they're thinking, I can't sell this property for like 6 months. And then they get your letter that says, hey, I can close in less than 30 days. You don't have to clean. You don't have to pick up, rehab, repair. I'll take the property just the way it is. Now they picture themselves taking a box and walking around and just putting stuff in it they want and calling you, bud, letting you handle it. This is the letter they need, you guys. Something that solves their problem. It fixes their problems. It addresses their concerns. You're finding solutions. You're overcoming their fears, okay? I mean, I never used to agree with using things like postcards and stuff, but now I actually changed my mind on that because I've got some people using some pretty good postcards, and I'm going to show you the postcards that I do recommend that are yielding huge results. But if you're going to handwrite your letter or even type your letter, make it legible and make it count. Never talk about their unfortunate situation, because you don't want to bring up a negative response in their feelings, or a negative feeling in their feelings, because you're going to piss them off. Excuse my French, but you're going to make them angry. So you want to just help them, okay? So here's a realtor. If you're a realtor, pay close attention to this letter. I actually wrote this letter for a realtor named Peggy in Montgomery County, Maryland. And she does very well with our list. Hi, my name is Jane Doe. I'm a local realtor with RE/MAX. I would like to help you sell the property at 2000 Smith Avenue. If you'd like to sell the property or just know the value for free, call me. Do you see what Peggy did there? She offered a free evaluation of the property. She offered to give a free comp of the property. Most people, when they have an extra property, one of the first things they want to know is, how much is it worth? I got a guy that does a letter and he offers a free consultation on his cards or whatever. And he gets 15% response rates. And his consultation includes evaluation of the property, a free comp, a write-up of the whole area with the house, just everything. I mean, he puts this huge package together for them, and he gets really good response rates from that. So, and he offers a free in-home consultation for them. And when he goes there, he has a realtor loaded in his back pocket. That way, if he doesn't want to buy the property, he can hook him up with a realtor who can sell it for him. So this is a good realtor letter, an investor letter. Hi, my name is Dave Turner. I'm interested in your property at 5500 Spring Lake Square. Please let me know if you're interested in selling or you know anybody in the area who may be. So just simple, basic marketing. Here's a 3-touch campaign. This guy uses this and he does really well. He's getting like 15% response rates. He takes one small card in an envelope. He says, I'm interested in the property at 1234 whatever street. If you're interested in selling, please give me a call. So real simple, real basic, right to the point, no, nothing. Just, I'm interested in your property, call me if you want to sell. Second touch, the same small card in an envelope. Hey, and this is, people ask me this all the time. I sent you a letter about a month ago. I sent you this about a month ago, expressing interest in your property on whatever street. Have you considered selling yet? And people ask me all the time, guys, what do you put in your second letter, in your third letter, in your fourth letter? You don't have to change your marketing. You can just change a sentence on the top saying, hey, I sent you this about a month ago, expressing interest in your property. Do you still have it? Are you selling it? Are you selling it yet? You know, are you thinking about selling it? So you don't really need to change your marketing. If you don't want to, you could just change the sentence up top to say, I sent you this about a month ago. Now check it out. Check his third campaign out. He goes to a local investing company purchasing properties in a few select areas. So if they didn't hit the first two, right, he's hitting them with a business avenue now, because the personal one didn't work for him. I'm not saying it didn't. My point is if he's still marketing to you, then that means you didn't reach out to him, you know? So this is the third touch. He's moving it to his investing company. And people always ask me, should I go at them as a personal person looking for just one property? Or should I go at them as and announce that I'm in an investing company? I say do both, just like he did. Works out really good. Exit strategies. A lot of people are using really good exit strategies today. A lot of people are using wholesaling as the #1 exit strategy out there today. So many newbie investors are wholesaling in properties, but like I was saying earlier, wholesaling is quickly flipping a contract to another investor for quick cash without expending any of your own money. So basically, you're just running around getting homeowners to sign a contract on a preface that you can sell their house in 30 days. Call the owner up on the phone. Mr. Jones, what is the absolute lowest you'll take for your property? $80,000. Okay, let me ask you a question, Mr. Jones. If I can get you $80,000 within the next 30 days, will you sell your property? Yes. Well, there's your contract right there, guys. You better get over there and get that contract signed immediately. And that's all you have to do is if I could sell your property, if I can get you $80,000 for your property in the next 30 days, would you sell it? Yes. Get that contract signed then for 30 days. Now, in the meantime, you really need to know how to estimate rehab and repair costs. Let's say you're going to a local RIA club and you've got 5 seasoned investors that you know that go there every month and they scoop up all these properties from these newbies. All these newbies are wholesaling the properties to these seasoned investors at these RIA clubs. Now, if you don't know how to estimate the rehab and repair value of that home, and you go to that meeting and you tell that investor that the property is worth $80,000, but after you repair it, it only needs about $10,000 of lipstick, it's going to be worth $130,000. And then they take it over from you and you make 20 grand and they think they're going to make 30 and they end up making 10, you're going to make them mad. And when you do, you've just ruined your relationship with that entire RIA club, because John's going to tell Harry and Harry's going to tell Rick, and they're all going to sit there at McDonald's on Friday morning when they meet and talk about you and the bad deal that you gave them. And guess what? None of them are going to do deals with you. So trust me when I tell you, you need to know your job. Wholesaling is not as easy as you think it is if you don't know what you're doing. You will quickly soil your relationship in your local market, and then you won't be able to wholesale to anybody. So be very careful, guys, that you know exactly what you're doing if you're going to use that exit strategy, okay? Retailing. Retail buyers are coming back into the market because of historically low mortgage rates, price appreciation, and tax credits that were being offered, as well as the improved economic conditions. I want to go back for a second because I want to talk about something. Let's go back to the wholesaling for just a second. You guys need to hook up with the RIA groups if you're not hooked up with them already. And when you do, you'll have an opportunity to do haves and wants at most of your RIA clubs. And they'll allow you a point to stand up and talk about why you're there, what you're looking for, and what you have. And I'm going to call on you. If you're a newbie investor, I would ask you to stand up at your RIA event and ask any seasoned investor in the room to raise their hand. I do it at my meetings when I speak at the RIAs. I say, hey, newbies, stand up. And most of the room stands up. And then I say, all right, sit down. I want the seasoned investors to stand up. And about 3 to 5 people always stand up. And I tell the seasoned investors, stay standing up. And I want all the newbies in the room to look at the seasoned investors right now. Seasoned investors that are standing up, would you be willing to work with these newbies? If they bring you a deal, would you split with them? And the answer is almost always yes, almost always. So I encourage you to go to your local RIAs and stand up and do that. and you will find seasoned investors in the room who'd be more than happy to work with you guys. Lease with the option to buy. Listen, this is a really good exit strategy. When you're doing lease with the option to buy, many would-be buyers currently have poor credit, guys, but what they have is money for a down payment. A lot of these kids these days that are going fresh out of college, they're getting married at a young age, and they're renting these apartments, and guys, they have no credit, but what they have is money for a down payment. So lease with the option to buy is a wonderful exit strategy. Now listen, you get $5,000 down, you write up a lease with the option to buy the property and so long, and chances are that young couple, they are not going to stay in your house more than 2 or 3 years. 99% of the time, they will stay in your house long enough to better their credit. And once their credit's better, they're gone. They're going to get the property that they actually wanted to begin with that they couldn't get because they didn't have good credit. So in 2 to 5 years, they're probably not going to stay in your house. And guess what? You pocket that 5-10 grand that you got down and you do it again and again and again. So the lease option to buy is a fantastic exit strategy that you can actually make a whole entire living off. Rental. If you buy right over the long term, this is an excellent cash flowing strategy where you can reap the annualized returns of up to 20% per year or more. Now, go ahead and just read my testimonial story real quick, and I'll tell you about this. It's very important that you read this. This woman came to a RIA event and she won a free month. We used to give away a free month at all the RIA events, which we no longer do, guys. I don't like giving away a free month, guys, because people just don't take it seriously when you give them something for free. So I'm crazy when we did that. I used to be crazy with training because when we gave a free month away, I really put my best foot forward to make sure that I trained that person to the highest notch that I possibly could to make sure that I gave her all the ammunition that she needed to make this list work. And within 1 month of using our probate leads, within the first few weeks, she immediately got a call. She made an offer and closed her first probate house. She had never been an investor. She just went to a RIA club. She had bought one property, don't get me wrong, but she bought it through a realtor. So this was her very first investment property. And you can look her up. Her name's Amanda Young. She's on Facebook, and she's in Florida. And if you look her up and message her, she'll tell you she's sitting on 5 probate houses right now because of this. She bought one property. She received a call. 1 year later, her tenant ended up making her an offer she couldn't refuse on the property. And then she used the profits from the 1031 exchange and got 2 more investment homes. And has since then have got 2 more. She has 5 probate houses now, and she's working on more. But anyways, that's a really good testimonial we got from her. I'm not going to bore you with a bunch of testimonials, you guys. But remember earlier when we were talking about people not being able to afford to do a lot of different marketing channels because they just didn't have the money? So what I did is I said, you know what? I've got to be able to help our clients. There's got to be a way that I can help our clients. Let me give you an example. There's a company out there. I'm not going to name any names. It's an app on your phone. You drive by the house, you take a picture of it, shoots them on a postcard, right? They charge 99 cents to shoot that picture of that property out on the postcard for you. 99 cents. I got this mail house company to do it for 42 cents. So I just saved you 60% on your marketing. What you do is you email them your probate list. They use Google Earth Street View to take the picture of the home, and they send that out in the postcard. Hey, is this your property? Are you selling this? Now that postcard is yielding huge response rates. People are getting 3, 5, 10, and 15% response rates with that postcard. And I just saved you 60% off by giving you a mail house company that'll do it for you for deeply discounted rates. Same thing with skip tracing. If you're doing skip tracing and let's say you're working to pre-probates, well, who do you call? You only have the decedent's name and address on a pre-probate. Who do you call? You skip trace the decedent's name, but you also need to get the surrounding family members in the area and their phone numbers too. And the skip tracing service that I recommend will do that for you for free on top of your 15 cents that they'll charge you to skip trace. So these skip tracing companies, the first 3, or the first 2 at least, will do it for 15 cents and yield you up to 10 phone numbers and 5 emails. And one of them will also give you the surrounding family members for free and their phone numbers too, but you have to ask. Now the mail house company will do your postcards for you for 38 to 42 cents with postage. Now, virtual assistant, Robin Crawley is really good. Her team worked for one of my investors one day for 1 hour and got him three probate appointments in 1 hour. Really good virtual assistant company, Robin Crawley with Rolu Business Solutions. So what I did, guys, is I went out and got all these deeply discounted rates for you with all these companies to help you to be able to do more than just mail, or more than just cold call, or more than just SMS. I want you to do a lot more. I got this one company to give you 500 drops for ringless voicemail for free. And they charge about 5 cents a drop after that. This other company, Just Deliver It, will do 50 drops for free, but they only charge 1 to 3 cents after that. So, I mean, I put all this together for you guys to help you be more successful. And did you know that Gmail now has GMass? They'll blast out a couple thousand people for you real cheap. Check out the postcards, guys. Go Big will do these for you for 42 cents, you guys, and that's with postage. You can customize these to anything you want. I like the, hey, is this your house? Are you selling this? Question mark. I mean, it just really makes people want to call you, you know? These postcards are really, really good. And I got Go Big to do them for 42 cents with postage using my special link. So when you get our leads, I give you all these bonuses. You get the postcards, you get the letters, you get all the links to the companies that will give you the deeply discounted rates with the special links and stuff that I'm going to give you. This is the letter. This is a much better letter. I'm going to zoom this in for you guys because look, you can read this. It's really nice. It's handwritten. They're using a handwritten font. And Go Big is only charging 64 cents to send this with postage for you. And the envelope's hand wrote. And you can read it. Obviously, you want to use my verbiage on the letter, but this is the marketing that you're going to get, guys. These are the bonuses you're going to receive when you buy our list. You're going to get a 6-step mailing campaign telling you how often to mail, a 6-touch campaign telling you what to mail first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. I'm going to give you a phone script wrote by the cash flow guys. It's called Cash Flow Cheat Sheet. It's from the cash flow guys. They have a podcast. It's a phone script on how to negotiate with a seller right over the phone. It's really good too. I'm also going to give you a phone script on how to speak to the attorney and an email to send to the attorney. When there's an attorney involved in the probate cases, and there is, I had that attorney that I had on an email a couple months ago. She said if you guys are interested in contacting her about her probate leads, you can call, but a lot of times she said she don't have time to call back. She said, but if you email me in writing, I just forward it right to the PR. So that is the best way to reach the personal representative, is to email the attorney too. I'm also going to give you 2 postcards, actually 4 or 5 of those postcard examples, a letter example. We mail a probate book directly to your house when you buy leads from us. It's called Probate Real Estate Sales 101, and it's wrote by Kevin Sales. He's the author, but we know him personally. He actually flew here and met us and everything. And we also did a webinar with him teaching the 7 ways to make money in probate real estate investing. So I'll be giving you his link too to his webinar. And I'm also going to give you a link to my webinar to watch. And of course, the special links to reduced rates for mailing and stuff. Here's the prices. Don't get this confused. A lot of people think, hey, is that the price for all those leads? No, absolutely not. It's for each of them. So if you want probates for, let's say, 6 months, I'm going to give you probates for 6 months for $999. And these are all discounted, guys. If you want pre-probates for 6 months, it's another $999 for 26 weeks, which is 6 months. If you want divorce leads, it's another $999. If you want code violations, it's another $999. You never get more than 25 leads a week for the leads up top, which are probate, pre-probate, inheritance, code violation, eviction, and divorce. Those prices are for each of them for 1 county, and it's half off every time you add a county. You never get more than 25 leads a week. The reason we put a cap on it is we have to know what to charge you. Honestly, guys, most counties don't have 25 a week. When you work these types of leads, get used to working a small list. It's not quantity, it's quality. If I can show you how to work 18 leads a week and you can make money instead of having to mail 4,000 leads, I'm saving you money on marketing. I'm saving you money on skip tracing. I'm saving you money on ringless voicemail. I'm saving you money on SMS, all that stuff. If I'm giving you less than 25 leads a week or 25 leads a week, because that's all they have in your county, maybe 18, 20, 25, whatever they have. Most counties don't have more than 25 probates a week. Unless you're like Broward or Hillsborough or Pinellas, then they might max out at 25 every week, and we'll give you the extras, you know, for a discounted rate if you want to buy the extras. An example, I live in Polk County. We only have 15 to 22 probates a week here with property guys. Don't get me wrong, 300 people will die in Polk County in 1 week, but maybe only 18 will have property. We're the only company who gives you weekly fresh data with real estate. Here's how to reach me. Tangie@foreclosuresdaily.com. Take a picture of that because most people spell the word foreclosures wrong. I'm going to email every single one of you when this is over. Stay on the call because we got some more stuff to talk about. We got to open it up for Q&A, and Q&A is important because that's where you guys learn from each other, okay? But I'm going to email you guys when we're done a sign-up form. If you want to sign up for the services, just fill it out, and you can take a picture of it and text it back to me. My phone number, let me give you my phone number. Somebody put this in Q&A. My phone number to text me is 863-698-3550. Can somebody put that in Q&A? 863-698-3550. Kenny Wright, if you're still on here, would you put that in Q&A? Somebody? 863, thank you, 698-3550. Thanks, Kenny. Thanks, Donald. Appreciate it. All right, so I'm going to hit answer. Dismiss. Okay, here we go. All right, cool. So that's my number. That's my number to text me. If you want to text me a copy of that, or maybe just text me a question. But either way, sorry about that, guys. I'm going to share this with you. I'm going to share this website with you. This is the website. All you do is you go to the homepage when you log in, and you click on probates or pre-probates. You put the data type here, and you can leave the state blank if you pick one state. If you have like 3 states, just leave the state blank and it'll pull up all you have available. But I have access to everything, so I'm going to put Hillsborough just for today, and I'm going to hit search. It'll drop your results right here, guys, and check this out. You can export it to Excel, CSV. It's pretty cool. And then you export it to, let's say, XLS. It drops it down, download the entire search result, drops it right here. You open it up, and bam, there it is. Can you, let me see, right here. Probate, it's got the decedent name, the decedent address, the decedent's mailing address, some property appraiser's data. Can you guys see this? Okay, let's see here. It's got the assessed value. It's got the, now listen, this is Hillsborough and Pinellas County. So they do have the PR name and address. PR stands for personal representative. So some counties don't have that. If it's not there, it's not a big deal, and don't make it one. Listen, they're 50 and 60 years old. When my parents die, and they will, I hate to say it, my parents will pass. And when they do, I'm going to be responsible. I'm 48 years old, and I'm going to drive over once a week, and I'm going to check their mail like I'm supposed to. And I'm going to mow their lawn. And I'm going to do the things that I'm supposed to do at this age. Okay? But if for some reason one of my parents live in New York, which one of my parents do live in New York, I'm going to have her mail forwarded to me for 6 months to a year after the death, because that's what I'm supposed to do as the child that's going to be the executor of her estate. So even if the PR's names and addresses are not here, don't worry. You can mail it right to the decedent property, okay? And just put like to the Smith family. It's very much their job to check the mail. And if they can't check it, they can have it forwarded for 6 months to a year after the death. So here's the PR's names and addresses, not promised, but it's there in Hillsborough and Pinellas. It's there in a lot of counties. Some counties it's not. Attorney's information, look at this. Attorney name, attorney phone number, attorney email. That's not promised. See, on some of it, it's not there. Let's make sure. I'm going to open it up for Q&A in just a few moments. But here's the attorney's email. I'm going to share, I have an attorney letter in my system that I can share with you that teaches you what to say to them. You're basically just expressing interest in the said property and any other probate property they may have, okay? So this is a probate. Now, check out the pre-probate. The new share here is the pre-probate. Same thing really, guys, on the pre-probate. It just doesn't have the PR's information or attorney. It's blank, see, because there isn't any. There's no PR. They died a week ago. There is no attorney yet. Nothing's really started, right? So the benefit of working the pre-probate is obviously you're hoping they've inherited it via trust and you can buy it now, but being first to the door is really important because you're making the first touches. I'm going to go back to this presentation here and share this with you because I'm going to leave it on the bottom, the back screen. I want to leave this on the last screen. All right. Stand by, guys. I'm putting this on this last screen here. We're going to email you guys a copy of the webinar replay too. Probably won't be ready until tomorrow, but we will email you a copy of the replay in case you missed anything. But I'm going to go ahead and open it up to Q&A. So I'm going to start my video here in just a moment, and we'll start doing some questions and answers. Okay? Hi. So we'll do Q&A, and let's go up to some of our first questions here. Christine, will this be recorded? Yes, it'll be recorded, and we will shoot you a copy of it. Move this camera back here just a little bit. So yes, we're recording it. Larry, I want the free county. You know, call me tomorrow, Larry. Text me. It's the best way to reach me. 863-698-3550. Jose, what is normally the period between the death and the probate? For 1 to 3 months is the average on the probate. So once the person has passed, the family members will typically file probate within the first 1 to 3 months. You'd be surprised at how quick it is. Sometimes it's just a few weeks. What is the subject to? A subject to is when you take over the deed, but the mortgage stays in the homeowner's name. It's a really good exit strategy for a lot of people. Because when you go to, let's say, a foreclosure house, you know, you can take over the deed, but the mortgage stays in their name and you catch them up, but you now have the property. So you kind of like become their landlord at that point. So that's subject to. And you can also Google it, what a subject to is too. And you can Google it and it'll tell you too on Google. Divorce filings are good, you say. Yes, divorce filings are really good. Just don't mail just the ladies. Make sure you put to Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Because remember, they're both still married and it's only a week after the divorce. SMS system recommendations. You know, anybody, can you give Kenny some recommendations on SMS? That's not my strong suit on that, Kenny. I'm sorry. Kenny, we're going to get back to you on that answer because I'm going to go in order. But give Kenny some recommendations, guys, on some text message. I know Twilio. There's another one out there, but I don't know a lot of names. But we'll get back to that, Kenny, in just a little bit. We'll give people some time to give you some SMS suggestions. What are the most popular real estate markets in terms of higher than average investment returns? Okay. What are the most popular real estate markets in terms of higher than average investment returns? I don't really understand your question. If you're asking me about markets as far as area, I mean, I have no idea. I know Florida's good because they have some bigger counties like Broward, Pinellas, Palm Beach, Hillsborough. Florida is a tourist state, so you have people bouncing back and forth and leaving properties all the time. So unless that was the answer to your question, you might want to ask it again, Vasco. If the same leads are sold to different people, aren't people who purchase the leads competing with each other? Absolutely. If you purchase Hillsborough, Vasco and Kenny purchases Hillsborough, you guys are both going to be using the same leads, but I can't imagine you're going to be worried about competing with 1 or 2 people. When you work with probate leads, you're competing with a very small group of people. It's not like the foreclosure industry where your national average is 1.5% response rates, and it's because of the competition. That's why. The reason the national average response rate to foreclosures marketing is 1.5%, Vasco, is because everybody and their brother is told to go after foreclosures when they're new. That's why probates, pre-probates, inheritance, code violation, eviction, and divorce are way less competitive, and you don't have a lot of people competing with you. But if you pick a bigger market, let's say Pinellas County, you might be competing with 8, 9 people compared to Pasco, who might be competing with 2. There's not a lot of competition with these types of leads. That's why people are working them. So you better get in the game while you can before there becomes a lot of competition, because it is growing. An older person will have a hard time reading. Yes, they're talking about the marketing. Investor letter. Would you also include as if they might know of a property in the area that would be of highly interest? Well, one of my letters said, you know, if you're interested in selling your property, or you know in the area, anybody in the area who is. So that is in one of my letters. Remember the basic letter I showed earlier? It said, I'm interested in purchasing your property. You know, if you're interested in selling your property, or you know anybody in the area who is. That's a really good way to end your letter. So yes, it is very good. Would you advise that in the same letter you are showing to appear you aren't knocking on the door before the funeral? You know, driving for dollars, when you knock on the door, first of all, you can door knock any neighborhood. And when you're driving for dollars, you could be knocking on the door of a person that died yesterday, Ken, and you don't know that. So yes, I would totally advise driving for dollars because you can blanket the whole area and act like that's exactly what you're doing. And that's exactly what you would be doing, because you're not going to go and just knock on their door. If you see an empty house across the street, you're going to knock on their door too. And then you're going to go talk to their neighbors. So I mean, yeah, absolutely, go door knocking. I need to take a call from prospecting during this. Yes, we'll be emailing the recording. What happened after 6 months? You buy another 6 months? No. Okay, so Brick, I'm going to give you the same pricing that you're seeing on the screen. So if you buy 6 months for $9.99, can you get 6 months again for $9.99? Yes, you can, but you can't get you can't keep the free county. I'm offering a free county by anybody who takes action by Friday. So because usually you pay 50% off to add counties. So yes, you can keep your $9.99 as long as we have that price at the time, and we probably will. And we've had the same price for years. These are discounted rates that I will still continue to honor for you each renewal, unless the owner just randomly changes the prices and raises them after all these years, but I highly doubt it. But yeah, you'll get the same price in 6 months, but you just won't keep the free county. You'll have to pay half for the free county, which is what everybody else pays. Jordan, just wanted to verify because I didn't see the phone or email for the, no, there's no email and phone on these guys. You're going to have to skip trace them and get the phones and emails from skipright.com or ididata.com. There's several of them out there. Grace put my phone number up there. Thank you, Grace. Nick, yes, we're going to send you a copy of the webinar. As long as you logged in as an attendee, you will get a copy. Do you limit your customers? No, we don't, but we can totally use that sales ploy to get more clients. We just choose not to. You don't limit your, here's the thing. When people say, hey, we're only going to limit this to 3 clients, that's really just a sales ploy. It's kind of hard to limit what you sell people on public data, because anybody can go to the courthouse and get probates or divorce or foreclosures, but most people focus their time on investing and just pay us to do that for them instead. So we don't limit our clients. Like I said, you don't have a massive amount of competition in general. Do you have many divorce leads monthly? It depends on what county you're in. I mean, Hillsborough County, you might get 25 every month, but you might only get 20 a month in Pasco, or 14 a month in Lee County or Collier. I mean, every county is different. So just get with me and find out what your county is, and I'll tell you what the counts are. What is ringless voicemail? It's basically where you send out a blast. You load all your numbers into the system, and it sends out this blast to all of them, and it leaves like a message. So when they answer the phone, it's like a message for them instead. So I don't know too much about that. So look, anybody on here can explain ringless voicemail better to Dennis? Please go ahead. Larry, what was the website for taking pictures? Okay, well, Larry, when you purchase the leads, we give you the links to all those special websites, but it's Go Big Printing. But you don't get the discount unless you use my special link. So, and unless you're a client, you don't get that. Greg, SMS. Oh, Kenny asked earlier about good SMS. Smartercontact.com. So that's for SMS, for text messaging. It's smartercontact.com or slingshotsms.com. Slingshotsms.com. SLINGS. And then the word HOTS, HOTS. Okay, actually it's slingshotsms.com. Slingshot.sms.com or smartercontact.com. There we go. You'll get that in the answers when I dismiss it. Lead Serpa for SMS. So the Lead Serpa, and that's SERPA. Another guy put Lead Sherpa, so I'm not sure if it's Serpa or Sherpa, but Lead Sherpa, SHERPA for MSM was recommended, and he was told that one of them are the best. So Nick says, do you have vacant land leads? We do, actually. Sky, would you hit up probate, pre-probate, or divorce? I mean, Sky, if you don't have to choose, I'd hit them all up. But if you have to choose between the 3 of them, it's almost impossible because they're all really, really good. But if you can get probate, always go with probates. And if you can't, then you get the pre-probates. And then, of course, the divorce would come next. But probate and pre-probate, by far, 2 of the hottest leads we have. besides code violations right after that, as well as divorce and eviction leads. So if you can only choose one, then do probates or pre-probates. Doing a mailing and cold calling, just curious which you believe has better touch rate to go after. Yeah, probate and pre-probate, Sky. Which of these lead types have a similar process nationwide? So for instance, to replicate your system across state, okay, I'm not really sure what you're asking. Which of these lead types have a similar process nationwide? Okay, so for instance, to replicate your systems across state borders, or I mean, most counties follow most of the same rules. I mean, they have their individual rules in general, but like judicial states versus non-judicial states, so they're going to vary from state to state on that. People do different things in their probate courts in Florida than they may do in Texas. So I mean, you just have to know your own state. But my training is nationwide, and all these tools that I offer are nationwide. So, I mean, you can definitely use these leads no matter where you are and be beneficial. Kenny says, you missed the company you recommend for negotiating. Okay, so like I said, if you're a client, you get those links for free. And they have special codes and stuff and links on them that in order to get you those rates. If you just call up Go Big Printing, they're not going to give that postcard to you for 42 cents. It's not going to happen. You're only going to get it with my link, okay? But if you're a client, hit me up and I'll give you that. You can text me 863-698-3550. I'll look you up. If you're a client, I'll give you the link. But let me see here. After we get off this call, I am going to email you the postcards and letter I recommend. Sky, always hobby spot. Okay, always hobby skip right. You'd have to ask them at Skip Right, Sky. So I do know that, by the way, about him buying that. But Skip Right's awesome. They really are, guys. Just tell them that I referred you, and they'll give you a really good rate. Just like Tangie with Foreclosure Daily referred me. Can you shrink a large county and isolate? No, we don't do zip codes with probate, pre-probate, inheritance, code violation, eviction, or divorce. There's no zip code specific. You have to be county specific. But we can do the zip codes on a la carte leads, such as absentee owners, unknown equity, free and clear, stuff like that. Let's see. A ringless voicemail is just what it's called. It's a ringless voicemail. It leaves a voicemail with the person's cell phone, but does not ring their phone or interrupt them. So let's do that again. A ringless voicemail is just what it's called. It leaves a voicemail with the person's cell phone, but it does not ring their phone and interrupt them. So there's your answer. It's also called a voicemail drop. It's a method in which a pre-recorded audio message is placed in a voicemail without the associated telephone ringing first. Walter, oh, there's my friend. Hi, Walter. He's basically just reiterating what a ringless voicemail is. It bypasses the phone ringing. How many leads will we get with a la carte and how much? Well, we sell them per lead basis, so you have to order at least 1,000 and it's $500. So the question always lingers, well, why do you sell your absentee owners for $500 for 1,000 of them when I can just get them for 3 cents from here? Well, let me give you an example. We had a guy order 9,747 leads from one of those companies that sell them for 3 cents a lead. And when he called me, I had pulled the same criteria that he pulled the day prior. And I had 149,000 available. And his question to me was, how do you have 149,000 available if they only had 9,747? My answer to him was, I guess that's all they bought 10 years ago when they loaded them into their database and let hundreds of thousands of other investors filter through them. So that's basically my answer is you're going to get old leads. They're going to be sold and gone because they were bought a long time ago and loaded into a database for hundreds of thousands of other investors to filter through them, which is why I had 149,000 available and he only had 9,747. So what I did is I took his 9,747 and I pushed them against our 149,000 and I only had to remove 228. That means over 9,500 of his leads were no longer absent. Guys, that's a big problem. You get what you pay for. Cheap is not better. So when you say how many leads will you get, however many you order, sweetie, you have to order at least 1,000. Okay. Still people answering about ringless voicemails, so I'm skipping over those because we have our answer on that. There's also a service which will leave text messages to a list of phone numbers. Do you have that company, Walter, that you can share with us? So, don't counties list properties that are in probate for free on their website? Well, yes, they do, but you're in the business to invest, not do data degradation. You don't want to do data research. You want to be an investor, right? So let me boil this down to the ridiculousness, Vasco. Sure, you can go to your local courthouse. 300 people will die in 1 week, but it doesn't say if John Smith has property. So then you have to go to the tax collector site, and then you have to go to the property appraiser site, and then you have to look through all 300 or 50 John Smiths and pick the right one that died with real estate. So if you do, you have to do that. And if there's 50 John Smiths, you have to go through all 50 and find that one out of those 50 that owned real estate that died. Now, if you have time to do that, then you're not doing enough investing. Are your tax lights at least 2 years behind? They're behind however you tell us how far you want it. But we typically go 2 years. So right now it's 2020. So right now we're ordering 2017 and 18 because it's too early to do 19. 2019 tax lights don't come out until April. But it's still going to be too early to do them. So we're doing 2017 and 18. And that is our last question for the evening. So unless you guys have any more questions, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. And again, if you want to call me, you can call me at the office line listed on the bottom of this screen. I'm going to be emailing you guys all sign-up forms because you have until Friday to take advantage of that free county and the deeply discounted rates we're offering here. And my cell phone to text me is 863-698-3550 if you need to text me a picture of your sign-up form if you cannot for some reason email it or whatever, but you can also text me questions on there. You can also email me, Tangie@foreclosuresdaily.com. Don't forget to put the S on the end of foreclosures, and don't forget the E after the R on foreclosures. Most people forget that, and then I don't ever get your email. If I don't respond, it's because I didn't get it. I have 3 more questions. Thanks, Walter. I appreciate it. Thank you, Vasco. Yes, there's a replay. So we'll be sending you guys out a replay, but it's probably not going to be till morning. All right, guys. Thanks for everything. We appreciate all of you. And we're going to go ahead and end the meeting. And we look forward to seeing you on the next one.